In our last talk, we are studying about the Satipatthana, the only way for foundations of mindfulness. And we have to stop with the first foundation only. We have finished Kaya-nupassana Satipatthana, contemplation on the body. So let us continue to study the next foundation. Today we study about the contemplation of feelings of Vedana-nupassana Satipatthana. Regarding Vedana-nupassana or contemplation on feeling or sensations, the Lord Buddha said, Sukhang va Vedanang Vedaya mano Sukhang Vedanang Vedaya miti pajanati. Dukhang va Vedanang Vedaya mano Dukhang Vedanang Vedaya miti pajanati. Adukhama Sukhang va Vedanang Vedaya mano Adukhama Sukhang Vedanang Vedaya miti pajanati. Meaning, while meditating, when one is feeling a pleasant feeling or sensation, one is aware. Buddha said, pajanati means you must know, means you must make a mental note of it. Like that you're feeling a pleasant feeling. Or when feeling a painful feeling or unpleasant feeling, you must know that you are feeling unpleasant feeling or painful feeling. Or adokama sukha means neither painful nor pleasurable, meaning a neutral feeling. So when you are feeling a neutral feeling too, you must make a mental note of it. If sensations of tiredness or pain occur in the body while noting the rising and falling of the abdomen, one should concentrate on this and note feeling tired, or feeling pain. If the feeling disappears as one noted, one can go back to the noting of the rising and falling. If the unpleasant sensation increases, one should try to bear them as much as possible. As the saying goes, endurance leads to Nibbana. It's a good one to remember when one is noting the strong, sharp pains. If one bears the pain and go on noting it, the pain often disappears. If it so disappears, one should go back to main object of noting rising and falling of the abdomen, and one's insight will make great progress. If, however, the pain passes and proves almost unbearable, then one may change one's posture. But one must note everything mindfully, starting from the intention to change, then change slowly and be mindful of all the movements involved in the changing of the posture. And this is how one meditates on unpleasant feelings of the body. During one's meditation, sometimes unpleasant thoughts may come up in one's mind. One may feel miserable or disheartened. They will soon pass away if one make a mental note of it. Then go back to noting the rising and falling of the abdomen. If a pleasant feeling arises in the body, one should make a mental note as pleasant. If happiness or joy arises in the mind, one must note as happy or joy. Such happy moods of the mind come to you in torrents when one gains udayabhaya jnana, the knowledge of arising and passing away. One will also experience great joy or rapture, and Pali piti. This too one will have to note as rapture. Upekha Vedana, or the neutral feeling, which is neither painful nor pleasant, often happens in the mind or in the body. But as a sensation, it is hard to discern. Only when concentration is especially strong, one will notice this neither painful nor pleasant neutral feeling, because it will come to prominence after the disappearance of pain and before the appearance of pleasure, or after the disappearance of pleasure and before the appearance of pain. One should note this neutral feeling too. It is when the knowledge of the arising and passing away is well developed, and the knowledge of passing away is gained, that the neutral feeling becomes apparent. More so when the knowledge of indifference to formations, Sankharupeka Jnana, is achieved. In that case, one must note this upeka, or the neutral feeling. When one's concentration is very strong, and while one knows tired, hot, or pain, one will find these sensations breaking up into pieces. To ordinary person, the tiredness, the hotness, the pain seem to last very long. But to the mindful meditator, they are just chips, small pieces or fragments, and they do not cause much pain. One feels at ease. If one goes on meditating, even strong pains can be got rid of. So it is said, Samudaya Dhamma Nupasiva, Vaya Dhamma Nupasiva, Samudaya Vaya Dhamma Nupasiva, Virana Suviharati, meaning one dwells contemplating either the arising or passing away of things and feelings. Then back the arising and passing away of things and feelings. While thus contemplating the arising and passing away of feelings, one can reach the Arya path, fruition, and one can become a Sotapanna. And that is Vedananupasana Satipatthana, or contemplation on feelings and sensations. Then the third foundation of mindfulness is contemplation on the mind, Citta-nupassana. Regarding this Citta-nupassana, contemplation of the mind, Buddha said, Saragam va Cittam, Saragam Cittanti Pajanati. Vita Ragam va Cittam, Vita Ragam Cittanti Pajanati. Buddha said, a meditator is aware of a passionate thought as a passionate thought, a dispassionate mind as dispassionate mind, and so on. He elaborated into 16 types of mental conditions. So in sitting meditation, while noting the rising and falling of the abdomen, if a passionate thought arises, one must note as passionate thought, passionate thought. If one so noted, the passionate thought disappears. Then a dispassionate mind arises, noted as dispassionate mind. In the like manner, if an angry mind arises, note angry mind. When the angry mind disappears, note the disappearance of angry mind as well. If there comes up a deluded mind with such wrong thoughts as I am permanent, I am happy, it is I who note it as delusion. Similarly, if a wandering mind appears, note as such. If a lazy mind appears, note lazy. When one notes whatever mind that appears and are aware of it, when concentration is strong, whenever one notes, one will find them arising and passing away, never stopping for a moment. Samudaya Dhamma Nupasiva Citta Samain Viharati, meaning a meditator abides contemplating either the arising or the passing away of things in the mind. While thus meditating on the arising and passing away of the mind, one can reach the Aryan path and fruition. And that is how one develops contemplation of the mind. Then the fourth division of this mindfulness meditation is Dhammanupassana Satipatthana, contemplation of the Dhammas. Now we will come briefly to this Dhammanupassana, contemplation of the Dhamma. Lord Buddha has divided these Dhammanupassana into 5 divisions, subdivisions. The first is the contemplation of Nivaranas. Nivarana means hindrances. What do they hinder? They hinder one from developing concentration or from developing insight and progressing in one's spiritual practice. There are 5 hindrances or nivaranas one can encounter or experience in one's meditation. The first one is Kamechanda Nivarana. Sensual desire or passionate thoughts can arise while meditating. Then 2 is Vyabhada Nivarana, anger or hatred. 3, Tinameda Nivarana, sloth and torpor. Then 4, Odeja Gogoja, flurry and worry. And 5 is Vichikeja Nivarana, skeptical doubt. While one is doing sitting meditation and noting the rising and falling of the abdomen, if sensual desire arises, as usual one must note as sensual desire or passionate thoughts, that one should soon note is pointed out by the Buddha. Santam wa ejatam kamechanda, atime ejatam kamechandoti pajanati. Meaning a meditator who has existing in himself a sensual desire or a passionate thought is aware, meaning one must be aware of it. There is in me a sensual desire. As one thus notes, the sensual desire disappears. This disappearance of desire too should be noted also. Kamechana or sensual desire arise in a meditator because of ayoniso manasikara, unskillful consideration of the object or the thought. One must understand that this ignorance of the real nature of things gives rise to it. As one meditates and understands the truth, sensual desire ceases to arise. This fact too should be understood. Once one reaches the path of arhatship, one has completely eradicated such desires. One must understand that an arhat is free from such desires. Thus one should know concerning sensual desire. In the same way, when anger arises, one notes as angry. When one feels dull and lazy, note dull and lazy. When one gets flurried, note one getting flurried. When one feels worried, note as worried, and so on. If one harbors doubt, then note as doubt. If a meditator keeps on noting whatever arises in one during meditation, these nivaranas fade away. They came about as a result of ayoniso manasikara or ignorance. Once one is fully aware of them, they cease to arise. The Aryan path puts an end to them once and for all. While meditating, one understands arising and passing away of the nivarana. One is noting. This understanding will lead one to the Aryan path and its fruition. This is how one contemplates on nivarana or hindrances. Then the second subdivision in this Dhammanupassana Satipatthana, contemplation on Dhamma, is contemplation on aggregates, khanda bhava. If one meditates on metta labeling as walking, standing, sitting, rising, falling, one knows for oneself, this is metta, that which knows not. It arises thus and passes away thus. When one knows pain, good, happy and so on, one knows for oneself, this is vedana, pleasant or unpleasant feeling or sensations. It arises thus and passes away thus. When one knows striving, acting, speaking, one knows for oneself, these are activities or sankharas. They arise thus and they pass away thus. When you know about the mind, thinking or consciousness, you know for yourself this is citta or mind or consciousness. It arises thus and passes away thus. While you meditate in this way on the arising and passing away of rupa or the material phenomena, vedanas, feeling or sensation and so on, one can reach the Aryan path and fruition. Then the third subdivision of this Dhammanupassana Satipatthana is ayatana bhava, contemplation of the sense bases. One who, while seeing, notes as seen, has one's concentration strengthened and comes to know not only the visible object, but also the seen, as well as the eye, which is the organ of seeing. Of the three, the eye is called Cakkayatana, eye organ or eyepiece, eye from which arises seeing consciousness. The visible object is called Rupayatana, the form organ from which arises seeing consciousness. The seen is called Manayatana, the mind organ from which the echo consciousness, that is Phassa, Vedana and so on, and Abhidhamma. Failure to know what one sees, or even if one note it, but do not understand the arising and passing away, the impermanence and so on, it makes arise sanyojanas or fetters, such as pleasure and the visible objects. One must know the arising of the fetters too. If the fetters passes away as a result of one's noting it, then one must know it too. Once one reaches Aryan path, these fetters cease to arise, and this too one must know. This is how one meditate and understand with regard to see. And the same way, one who while hearing notes hearing, one understands the ear and the audible sound as metta. One while noting as smelling and noting smelling, then one understands the nose and the odor as metta. One who while tasting, while eating, noting the tasting of the food, notes as tasting, understands the taste and the tongue as the material form. One who while touching, notes touching and so on, understands the material body and the tangible object. Meditation on walking, standing, sitting, and rising and falling of the abdomen belong to this contemplation of touch. That is, one who notes thinking while one is thinking, understands the form, that is the base of consciousness and Dhammayarana or mental states, and the consciousness or manayarana. If one does not know them as they are, because one has failed to note them, fetters like sensual desire arise in the ayatanas or sense spaces. This arising too must be noted. If one, by one's timely noting, they pass away, note this also. When one reaches the Aryan path, when these fetters cease to arise altogether, one must know it too. By noting, seeing, hearing, and so on, and understanding the real nature of the eye and the visible object, and the seeing consciousness that arise, and so on, one can be on the Aryan path and fruition. This, in brief, is contemplation of the sense spaces. Then the fourth subdivision in this Dhammanupassana Satipatthana is Bujjhanga power, contemplation of the factors of enlightenment or wisdom. Bujjhanga means the factors of wisdom, by means of which one realizes Nibbana. They are 7 in number. 1. Sati Sambhujjhanga, mindfulness. Dhamma Vijaya, investigation of the Dhamma. Viriya, energy or effort. Piti, joy or rapture. 5. Passaddhi, or tranquility. And Samadhi, number 6 is Samadhi or concentration. And the 7th factor is Vika or equanimity. It is said that if there arises mindfulness or sati, or any of these bujjhanga or enlightenment factors in one is to be aware of it, meaning one must make a mental note of it. If such is present, absent, one is aware of it too. Factors of wisdom do not usually come up to the beginner in meditation. They come only to one who has attained the knowledge of arising and passing away. Udayabhaya jnana. One goes on meditating on matter and mental qualities that keep coming up, and the manner we have given the instruction to you all about when we describe about the Kaya Nupassana, noting the Iriyapada power and walking, standing, sitting, bending, stretching, rising, falling, and so on. One attains the knowledge of arising and passing away when one is very quickly and markedly understand the arising and passing away of objects. Then every time one notes the arising and passing away, one is mindful of it. And when one is mindful, one must be aware of it as mindfulness. When one's concentration slackens and one is not mindful, one is aware there is no mindfulness. Similarly, when there arises the investigation of the Dhamma, Dhamma Vijaya, about Nama and Rupa or the mind and the matter, one is aware it has arisen. When it is absent, one must also be aware of the absence. Being thus aware, one's concentration gets especially stronger, and as one goes on with one's awareness of the arising and passing away of these things, awareness, knowledge, effort, and so on, arrives at the Aryan path and fruition. This, in brief, is contemplation of the factors of wisdom. I think we'll stop today here for you all to ask questions. If you all have any questions, you may ask now. If no questions, let me elaborate a little about this subject. Because the subject is profound and due to short of time, I can only give brief explanation of these meditation. And this is the important subject because it directly concerns with your practice of meditation. So let us revise, run through to refresh your memory and to have a better understanding. So Vipassana Bhavana or insight, mindfulness insight meditation means, as I often said, we have to depend on two discourses. The first one is Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. The cunning of the wheat, the very first discourse Buddha expounded, that there he laid down the theoretical explanation of the meditation by describing the Four Noble Truths there. And he elaborated for practical exercise, and this second discourse is Satipatthana Sutta. So for meditation instruction, we have to rely on these two discourses. So in Satipatthana Sutta, Buddha described in detail how to meditate. And this is commonly expressed for easy understanding. Buddha divided into four divisions, and it is popularly known as four foundations of mindfulness. One is Kaya Nupassana Satipatthana, contemplation on physical phenomena or bodily phenomena or material phenomena. The first foundation, and that we have already explained almost in detail in our last talk. And we'll repeat again and again from time to time because this is the main thing we are doing in these meditational practices. So the first is Kaya Nupassana Satipatthana. I hope you all remember, Buddha explained in 14 chapters, 14 subdivisions. Anapanabhava, in-breath, out-breath. Then Iddhiyapathabhava, four bodily postures. Postural meditation, like meditation in sitting, standing, walking, and sit lying down. Four Iddhiyapathabhava. Then the third is Sambhajanya Bhava, and last talk we have already explained. Contemplation by clear comprehension. Then the fourth is Patikula Manasikara Bhava. Contemplation on 32 parts of the body that we will describe in detail, and we have done it before also. Then the fifth is Dhatu Manasikara Bhava. So 5 subdivisions. And 9 divisions is Nava Sivatika Bhava. I have already explained in detail. Nava means 9, Sivatika means dead body, 9 dead body contemplation. Meaning not 9 dead bodies. 9 stages of decomposition of a dead body to get loathsomeness of one's body or other people's body. So 9 plus 5, 14 subdivisions. Buddha has expounded regarding the first foundation, Kaya Nupassana Satipatthana. This much you all must know. So that's why we had to repeat again and again for you to be familiar with it. And our instruction, mainly we are doing the two, Iddhiyapathabhava and Sambhajanya Bhava. Your main meditation exercises we are giving the instruction is 4 body posture meditation to gain clear comprehension of the object. So that is that out of these 14 subdivisions we've used mainly these 2 and the rest as object. And the second division in these four foundations is today's talk. At the beginning we have mentioned about Vedana, Nupassana, Satipatthana, contemplation on feeling and sensations. Here too, in detail, Buddha has described 6 or 12 kinds of sensations. But in practical exercise, we don't need that much because it causes distraction. This is just scholarly study. What mainly directly concerned with our meditation is this dukkha vedana, unpleasant or unpleasurable sensation that commonly encounter in our meditation, especially for beginners, like pains, aches, tingling, numbness, stiffness, etc. So mostly we have to come back with these unpleasurable sensations or dukkha vedana. And when this cease or when they fade away, you become comfortable, and that is sukha vedana or pleasurable or pleasant sensation. The pleasant sensation and the third one, Adokama Sukha Vedana, we have just now mentioned. Neither pleasant nor unpleasant sensations are very subtle, and it cannot be experienced very vividly for the beginners unless your concentration and mindfulness become mature. Then you can experience these subtle pleasantness. Anyway, if you can, then you have to make a mental note. And meditation is easy. That's why it is called mindfulness meditation. Whatever arises, either physical or mental object, you just keep on noting it. And that is what a meditator should do. So in Vedana, Nupassana, Satipatthana, Buddha described 3 types of Vedana or sensations: painful sensations or pleasant sensations, or neither painful nor pleasant, 3 types. And sometimes he even elaborate worldly sensations and spiritual sensations. Anyway, if you can note the painful sensations and aware of the passing away, fading away, and you become pleasant, that is enough for our meditation. If we have time and occasion, we'll elaborate sometimes on this subject. But for the moment, I want you to remind you all, pain is felt by our mind. So that is why I said Buddha sometimes elaborated a classification, not only 3, 6 or 12 means. One is physical pain. Meaning, supposing a person said, my knee is paining. Actually, the knee cannot pain. Knee is the cause of the pain. Here, the cause is physical cause. The pain is experienced by the mind. So that is, please remember that pain is experienced by the mind. The body cannot experience like these. If you hit or if you cut, or if you burn, they don't feel anything because they don't have the mind. They have only physical component. We are psychophysical complex, the mind and the matter, nama and rupa, compounded together. So we have 2 kinds of sensations. One, depending on the cause. Actually, though we say my knee is paining, actually the knee is not paining. Knee is the cause of the pain. Pain is experienced by the mind. Please remember this much. This much you have to understand. Mental pain and physical pain is different. Physical pain means not that the body is paining. The body is the cause of the pain. And the mind too also can be the cause of the pain. Like supposing when we had to part someone we love or something we cherish, when we lost, we feel sorry. And that is mental pain. The cause is mind. But a person slipped and fell and broke the leg, then the pain in the leg. That is, the cause is physical pain. So these two, at least, meditators must be able to distinguish, not to confuse. That's why I said just generally, pleasurable and unpleasurable, mention only three. Actually, if you want to elaborate, physical pain, mental pain, then worldly pain and spiritual pain. This fact is very important to clearly understand. Please remember that though it is two types of pain, means not different types, different causes of that causes the pain. Because we are composed of nama and rupa, mind and the matter. But the material cause or the physical cause of the pain, and mental cause of the pain. But the pain is a mental fighter. When we learn about, we have many times explained to you all, 4 mental aggregates. Out of the nama rupa, if you elaborate it, it becomes 5 aggregates. 5 aggregates is 1 rupa and 4 mental fighters. Vedana, sanya, sankhara, vijnana. Feeling or sensations, perception, volition and consciousness. So vijnana or vedana or feeling or sensation is mental fighter. So pain is experienced by the mind. Though the cause may be different, maybe physical cause or mental cause. So this much you must be clearly understood. Because when you meditate, this is very important to clearly understand it. So please remember that. Then the third foundation of mindfulness is Citta Anupassana Satipatthana, contemplation on the mind and mental fighters. Here too, Buddha mentioned 8 pairs or 16 types of mind to contemplate, but we don't need it. What is needed is only 5. This comes again in Nivarana or hindrances also. The first pair is Saragam va Chaitam, Saragam Chaitanti Pajanati, Vidaragam va Chaitam, Vidaragam Chaitanti Pajanati. While meditating, passionate thoughts may arise, and by noting, it may disappear. So when it disappears, your mind is free from passionate thoughts. So the mind can be influenced by passionate thoughts, one mind, and it can be free from passionate thoughts. That's the first pair is. Then the second pair is Sadosam va Chaitam, Sadosam Chaitanti Pajanati, Vidadosam va Chaitam, Vidadosam Chaitanti Pajanati. Sometimes while meditating, anger or hatred may arise due to some unpleasant thoughts of the past or the memories. So when your mind is influenced by these anger or hatred or aversion, you must make a mental note of it. And by noting, if it fades away, you must also know it. That's the second pair. Whether your mind is influenced by dosa or adosa. Dosa means ill will, anger or hatred. Or adosa means the opposite, good qualities. When it is free from dosa, either loving kindness, compassion or altruistic joy arising or so dosa or adosa. Then the third pair is Samoham va Chaitam, Samoham Chaitanti Pajanati, Vida Moham va Chaitam, Vida Moham Chaitanti Pajanati. Moha, as you all know, is ignorance or delusion. So most of the time, especially at the beginning of your meditation, your mind will be influenced by this moha, because we are so used to identifying these objects in a conventional way. If we identify these objects as conventional way, then it is moha. The day when we talk about sampajanya, clear comprehension, asamoha means when you see objects and when you verify as paramattha dhamma, then only it is asamoha. Otherwise, if you, like supposing you note rising, falling, you note as my abdomen is rising and falling. Or when you are walking, I am walking. Or when you are hearing, I am hearing. I am hearing a clock chiming or a bird singing or a dog barking. All these are not wrong, but it is delusion. In fact, we must be able to identify, as I have many times explained to you, how to identify paramattha dhamma and meditation. Because most of you all are not beginners. Now is the time to practice. Like supposing you hear a clock chiming. Instead of clock chiming, the sound in the ear is rupa. The hearing consciousness arises nama, just mind and matter. And hearing, just after hearing one dung pass away, then dung no more, dung and no more, arising and passing away. So there is no question of I am hearing a clock. Oh, this is clock chiming is this Westminster chime. It is Westminster, as you all know, is a famous church in England. Oh, the music is very good. And these all defilements arise. So that is why that if you are used to it, that is moha. The mind is delusion. If you can identify as not I, not mine, just mine and the matter, hearing and passing away, then that is amoha. So that pair is important. And the next pair is sankheta and vaikheta citta. Sankheta citta means contracted mind, meaning when one's mind is influenced by sloth and torpor, the mind becomes indolent and immovable and lethargic. So that is sankheta citta, actually sloth and torpor. Vaikheta citta means wandering mind, restless mind. Mind is wandering and street thoughts obsessively arising in the mind. So these two pairs are sankheta citta and vaikheta citta. So when it arises, you must make a mental note of it, and we have many times explained how to combat this sloth and torpor. Okay, let us stop here and continue next time. Idame punya Nibbanasa Pacayo Hodu Idame punya Yatinang Hodu Sukhita Hundu Nyatayo Imano Punya Bhagan Sabasatana Tima Sa May you all be happy. May you all be healthy. May you all be free from suffering. May you all attain eternal peace or nirvana in the shortest possible time. Sa